So I'm here today with my friend George Pransky, and George has been a client of mine for several years, and I just asked him if he'd be willing to share a little bit about his experience with NIS, but specifically also George has really embraced fasting as of late, and I'd like you to talk a little about that too, if you would, George.
Yeah, I'd be glad to, Jim. When I came to NIS, I was absolutely shocked at how quickly you were able to deal with whatever I came in with. Like I would come in with, a virus. I would come in with an injury. I would come in with a sore back, and I couldn't quite get it together how you could make such quick work of it. And then I got interested in it and talked with you about it and did a little studying on it, and I realized that you were way out ahead of the field, in my opinion, because you knew that everything went through the brain, and you were dealing with it, how the brain related to the body. So then I understood why it worked so well, and I became a very dedicated patient of your clinic. And one of the things that I love about what you do is you're as much into prevention as you are into cure, and that's how I got into the fasting. You know, you were talking about fasting, and I looked it up, did some research on it, and I'll tell you what appealed to me about it, Jim, is it said that once you finish digesting, which takes I think 13 hours to finish digesting, your body automatically goes into 100% repair mode. 100%, not 90% or 50%. And in repair mode, it repairs old injuries, it uncovers viruses that have been latent in the body that would come out and haunt you at some point. It even repairs your DNA. Now it's doing this every minute that you're fasting. The efficiency of that to me was amazing. And then the recent studies that I saw, you actually get new stem cells and new immune cells. Now, that's the science of it, from my amateur viewpoint. The personal benefit of it, I mean, of course I lost a lot of weight. Like I'm more than 10 pounds lower than my high school weight now. And that, most of that has happened since I started fasting. My stomach feels terrific.
Wow, and you used to have some problems there, I remember.
I assumed that I would have problems the rest of my life.
Wow.
So it's not that my stomach feels all right. It feels terrific. And even if I have a bad meal, like I'll have a big meal of lamb shanks and potatoes and dessert, I can't believe how fast I digest it and how quickly I feel good again. So even when I'm bad, it benefits me. And I mean, my personal regimen is I don't eat breakfast, so my first meal is like 1 o'clock. And I stop eating at 7 or 8. So I have a lot of hours every day that I fast. And then I'll do like a 5-day fast, a 6-day fast, an 8-day fast. And every time I fast, it's easier. And my understanding is that I've become fat burning.
Exactly.
And if you're fat burning, you're never hungry. unless
You
unless
never
you
run out
of fat. And I'm never going to run out of fat, that's for sure.
Well, hey, what was most impressive to me was your recent blood work. I mean, you had some big changes in some of your inflammatory markers, your insulin markers. I mean, your blood work looked all over much, much better. And I thought that was impressive.
Well, my blood work was so good that one of my doctors asked me to redo it because he said that it's not possible that in 1 year your blood work would change this much. So I redid it, and sure enough, the numbers were changed. It's amazing how much my numbers changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is, I've gotten so I can, when I'm fasting, if I'm doing like a 4-day fast or 5-day fast, I exercise, I go to work. So my body is getting accustomed to this higher level of health that I attribute to the fasting and to everything that you've done and everything I've learned from you. It's just been, it's been like a new day for me, health-wise.
That's so great. Yeah, and it was really another thing that really impressed me was when we do a test here in the office called the BIA, or body impedance test, which really gives us an idea of like the age, the biological age of your cells. And weren't you like in your 40s or something?
Yeah, I was in my late 40s. So I'm 77 years old, and I got late 40 cells. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Now, I personally respect that test, just logically, because it tells you how permeable your cell membrane is.
Exactly.
And that could be considered a definition of aging. The problem is when your cell membranes become permeable, non-permeable, you don't get the nutrition, you don't get the oxygen. It's hard for the cells to get nourished. And when they're really permeable, all this nourishment happens. So
Yeah.
you benefit from what you eat, you benefit from clean air, you benefit from everything that comes with permeable membranes. I was shocked to see that, how young my cells were.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I've got to say, I mean, you've inspired me as far as doing more fasting, and you know, you're an inspiration in so many ways, but you know, just to see that you're still so physically active and working out and going to the gym, and just watching how you've changed things in your lifestyle, totally impressive.
Well, that's really nice of you to say that. I'll tell you an interesting thing, Jim, is I've gotten so into fasting that every one of my friends and even my clients that I talk to about fasting starts fasting. Now, they all do it differently. Like some of them eat one meal a day.
Yeah.
They get up in the morning and then they eat between 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Other people eat like I do. They just start late. Other people just every other day they do 500 calories in a day. Every one of my friends and clients that have fasted have called me up, thanked me for suggesting it, and tell me that they never felt better.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Where have you been my whole life fasting?
I know.
That's
Well,
what
and you shared with me those, especially the one that would impress me is one that you found, which was the science of fasting by they've been doing this in Russia as a health regimen for years.
I know.
And how come we're only finding out about it now? It's interesting to me. And it was interesting to me that they were doing it. They were curing like psychoses and schizophrenia.
Unbelievable.
Things like that. I mean, yeah.
Well, that's how they discovered it, Jim. They had a psychiatric hospital in Russia, and it was all government paid. It was, socialized medicine. And a lot of the psychiatric patients would refuse to eat.
Oh.
So they would force feed them. Well, there's one doctor, not out of any wisdom or anything, just said, I'm not forcing this guy to eat. I'm tired of this forcing people to eat. He doesn't want to eat. He doesn't have to eat. Well, he went, I think, 2 months without eating. He drank water.
Yeah.
He didn't eat. His symptoms went away. So the doctor, psychiatric symptoms, he had a serious mental illness, so much that he was hospitalized. The doctor says, wow, I wonder if there's a relationship. They took a floor of the hospital and they had a fasting floor.
Yeah.
And they had phenomenal results. They had a 60% of the people I'm not sure of the figures, but it was in that
I
area.
think it was 50-60%, yeah.
Lost their symptoms, and half of those were permanent recoveries.
Never came back.
And that's just from fasting. Now in that documentary they talk about 3-month fasts, and they're talking about Parkinson's. They're talking about people with diabetes. They're talking about really serious illnesses, and all it means to them is longer fasting.
That's the answer.
You know, so you come in and you have a serious illness. All right, well, you got to go for 3 months. What about you? That's not so serious. Well, you have 2 months.
Well, you know, it kind of speaks. I just thought when you were sharing that story about the patient who didn't want to eat, kind of speaks to that innate intelligence of the body, that he kind of knew somehow that was the way to go.
Yes.
Which is brilliant to me, and I mean that supports, you know, a lot of what we've talked about, you know, because you deal with the innate mental
health,
and I deal more with the innate physical health.
And I love the parallel because when you are fasting, your body, the intelligence of the body takes over and fixes you up big time. Now, psychologically, when people's minds are free and clear, when their minds are reflective, all kinds of processes go on that heal the mind. You know, like trauma resolution, and the person has a problem that they're dealing with. The problem will get resolved. They'll get new ideas about things that they were hoping to get insight on. So the body and the mind, when left to their proper resources, have tremendous health powers.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, you see it in your work, I see it in my work every day. So, well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing all this with me. It's been a great conversation, and I hope it inspires some other people to get on board the fasting wagon with us.
Well, I hope so, Jim. And I can't say enough about how much you're contributing to the world with the work you do in NIS. In my mind, NIS is maybe 20 years ahead of its time.
I believe that's true.
I honestly think that when the field of medicine begins to see that everything has to go through the brain, and that it's the adjustments that are made in the brain that hold the other adjustments in place, I think NIS is going to be normal body work. That'll be, and people will say, what did they used to do before? They had all these different theories. You know?
I love it. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.